Hey everybody, it's Lex from PDQ.com. Today, one of my favorite webcasts, because I always learn stuff preparing for this, is the lesser known features in deploying inventory. Bunch of these Colby sent me, Jordan sent me a few, so let's get started and jump in. First one we're going to roll through is actually you can start a deployment from a step. So let's say, for example, I'm going to deploy 7-zip to, I don't know, 3 machines here. I'm going to open it, actually. Let's deploy to 7-zip. We'll send it to, I don't know, a couple of machines. We'll just pick some Allen rails. Seem to be doing this much better when I drink a little bit, but
painkillers aren't helping.
Yeah, I know, painkillers are definitely not helping today. All right, so we got 3 machines, and we deploy, and there it is. They're running, and let's say bird person either gets aborted or canceled or failed. There it is. It's actually, let me do it on this one. Abort on step 2. All right, so this one I aborted bird person too early, but this one got to step 2. Okay, if you want, you can restart that from step 2. So you can right click, you can redeploy from a failed step, which pops in right there at the failed step, step 2. Or again, you can just select from here what step you want to start at. And then hit deploy. So there you go. You can restart from a failed step, or you can just pick a step to start from. So that's the first one. Any thoughts, any comments, Jordan, on that?
Oh, well, I'm going to still... This is Colby's story, but since he's not talking, I'll use it. This is actually his recommendation because he had an issue with a massive package he'd built when he was at his previous job where he needed it to just kick off from the failed step. So it's just kind of a nice thing that collaboration worked out for us here.
Very nice. What do you think, Colby?
Yeah, we had a specific piece of healthcare software that wasn't the best and would just kind of like randomly fail, and then when that happened, I would have to uninstall everything because this was like a 40-step package. And I was like, is there any way I can just start from where it failed? And so that's kind of where this came from. But then in the design process, I don't know who specifically came up with this, but they were like, why don't we generalize this to make it so you can, outside of failures, you can just pick which step to start from. And it's like, ooh, I like that.
Nice. Well, thank you, Colby. Thank you, developers. The next one we're going to jump into is prioritizing deployments. This is kind of a feature that came out a couple releases ago. I'm going to use Jordan's career package. We're going to deploy it to a bunch of machines because this package, like Jordan's career, does nothing.
It's empty.
It's not really empty. It just pauses for a minute and then runs a dir. But okay, a couple of things I got to show you before we do this so you understand how this is going to work. Under preferences, now this you do not want to do. I'm doing it for the webcast only. I went and made the concurrent target deployments 3, okay? And then, target deployment. I can't even read today. Can't even read. Current targets per deployment is 3. There we go. Total concurrent targets is 9. So I'm going to deploy this to, I don't know, probably a bunch of machines. Deploy once.
It's strange. The list of computers is static, but every time on camera, picking which computer to deploy to is somehow an issue. I don't know. You think we'd use the same ones.
I would agree, but it's always an issue. All right. Allen rails. Okay, so there's my deployment. It's rolling and running. There's a bunch of different ways to go about this. So you'll see these 3, Rick, Kyle, and Get Swifty, are actually deploying. I really wanted Allen rails to go first, so I'm going to right-click on this. I'm going to prioritize that target. Whoa, well, it must have ran pretty... Oh, there we go. So the thing about prioritizing is it'll use up any of the concurrent targets, total concurrent targets that are available. So up to 9. So you saw that ran. I'll do another one so you can see this. Okay, pay attention on Plumbus here. When I hit prioritize target, it'll say prioritized, and then it will just kick off and rock and roll there. So if I hit 9 or 10 of these and then I prioritize, it'll sit in a prioritized state right where it says queued, and then it'll go first as soon as one of those 9 comes available.
Yeah, so it's important. It's not going to override what's currently running. It's just going to make it run.
It will be the next one
slot.
In the next available slot. Thank you. I like that because, in case someone important calls, like me, just kidding, but, you can get their stuff right up front. So Do we have any questions that we want to take?
Dear Lex, Colby, and Jordan, is there a way to schedule reboots with PDQ? Thanks, sincerely, GF.
Schedule reboots with PDQ. Absolutely. Couple ways you can do this before you schedule it, right? You can right click on a machine. Let's say Allen Rails, and you can go to Tools and you can say Reboot. Now that's not a scheduled reboot, but there you go. The other way to do it is I like to build a package to do that. And again, new package. We'll call it Reboot. We're just going to add a reboot step. And again, I love to send sweet messages to my end users. I dare you to spell correctly. I dare you to save your work. Now this, again, I'm going to teach you something else while we're doing this, right? This is kind of dangerous, so I always like to go up here on my properties of the package and say only allow this to run on workstations, because if I accidentally send this out to the entire network, you know, DCs go down, file servers, so on and so forth, and all of a sudden I have to explain what happened, and then I'm polishing my resume at the end of it. So don't want to do that, but okay. Here it is. There is your reboot package. Did I actually name it Reboot? I did. We'll save that, and then to schedule it, select it, new schedule, and then you can schedule a reboot like you would any other thing. Let's run it on the weekends.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's one where just the weekends can be kind of vague. It's something where you probably want to fine tune on which ones you're rebooting and why. Like there's a pre-built collection that needs reboot that has various reasons, or you're probably going to want to have the schedule run for a certain collection and define how you're deciding to reboot within there. So let the collection do the filtering.
Absolutely. So reboot, we'll just look up anything that needs a reboot. Oh, reboot, reboot. There you go. Reboot required. So now I'm only going to hit reboot required people on the weekend. Not it. Yeah, but that's how you do it. Again, build a collection, reference your collection, and then just be aware it's a reboot. So, any other questions?
Dear Lex and gang, when using remote tools like TightVNC, is there a way to make sure files on the client side get updated? Is there a remote tool you prefer? Right now, using SCCM, we know remote tools are updated on the client side. Thanks again, GF.
I've heard of this tool that you use to update third-party patch management kind of stuff. It's called PDQ Deploy. I would build a package here. I mean, we've got TightVNC and UltraVNC, and you can just schedule this. I mean, if you download it, it's going to be an auto download package. So depending on how you have that set, if you download it as an auto download, you know, new version comes down on your time frame, it's going to get replaced. And then your schedule, if you schedule it to run so many days after or on a Friday or whatever, it'll go that way. So that's how I would do it. If you're using something different than UltraVNC or TightVNC in our package library, I'd still use PDQ Deploy to push it out.
Yeah. Also, if you're doing a software that we don't have in our package library, we do have a webcast out there where we kind of built a way to build your own automated update.
Absolutely.
You might want to look into on that one.
Definitely. You know, surprisingly, I don't like that reboot icon right there. I'm going to show you guys another lesser known fact. You can change the icons on these. And item appearance. There we go. Reboot. Should look like something dangerous in my book.
I don't think there's a dangerous icon that we have in there.
Danger icon.
The red stapler.
The red stapler danger icon. There we go. There it is. The reboot is now a dangerous red stapler. So, at any rate, it is a lesser known feature. You can change your icons. So, let's talk about target filters real quick. Now, let's say I want to deploy to, you know, all machines except for a specific few that I do happen to have an inventory or whatever. You can go, or happen to type the name, and if you go to preferences, okay, target filters, you can add, you know, filters here to exclude from your deployments. So let's say I didn't want to deploy to any machine that started with a WS. I don't know why I would do that, because that would indicate workstations, but you can go after specific machines. ABBA. And since that's in there, let's go try and deploy Jordan's career package to ABBA. So we'll go deploy once. We'll type in ABBA because I can actually type ABBA. It's a nice short word. And it failed right off the gate. And target has been excluded by a target filter right there. Okay, you can also do domains, IP address ranges, or domains. Yeah, you can do domains. So yeah, you can do it. So just be aware that's there. I would highly suggest if you do includes, you're going to have to start including all the machines. Excludes are kind of easier because I can just group them. And I'm actually going to delete these because I do want to be able to deploy to those. So that is how you make it so you can't deploy to a specific machine or range of machines. You can also deploy from a folder. So here we've got under custom here, install a calculator and install weather. If I right click and I hit deploy once, check that out. Multiple packages right there. I can deploy them. JJ is going to be so proud to use the highlighter twice today.
Good job. New record.
The other nice thing, and this I found out because I watched the old one that we did, you can also add more packages by choosing packages right here. Add 7-zip. We can add Jordan's career package. Now, and then you just pick your machines that you want it to go to, and it goes. How is this different than a nested package, Colby? I'm sorry. I was just wondering, if I built a nested package that has all those in, does it run any differently, or is it basically I just nested packages and I can run them this way?
I'm sorry, I was.
Colby, you're muted.
Oh, Colby was busy. All right.
Mic is not on either.
Oh, so I was just wondering,
Yep.
It looks like a nested package, but it's not a package. It's just, I guess nested packages get saved, and I can do it again. This I'd have to reproduce. So, anyway, sorry to blindside you there, Colby. My bad. The other thing, and this we just found out because we looked at the numbers and what people use. We've got a bunch of uninstall packages. So if you go and search for uninstall, but you got to spell it properly. There we go. We've got a ton of uninstall packages pre-built for you guys. Love them. So you want to uninstall Notepad++, just grab it, download it. There it is. Should we take another question?
This is that awesome question I was talking about earlier. What is the worst way to use PDQ? What are things that people do with their environment that make their life harder? Sincerely, Matthew DeGrandis.
I can think of a couple right off the top. Deploying a reboot on a heartbeat schedule. That's a circular badness.
Has anyone actually done that, in all seriousness?
I've done. I always tell people don't. I mean, you can do it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Any thoughts, Jordan?
Oh, looks like.
Or Colby? Anybody? What do you guys?
One feature that we typically recommend against is the retry queue, because that will create a lot of failed deployments in your deployment history, and if your deployment history gets too large, that can start to cause performance issues.
For me, if you're too, and I've done this in the lab, is you're too liberal with your performance settings on what can run when, it can really bring down that machine. If you have a large network and you don't have a lot of control on that, it can slow you down. I suppose you could throw more resources at the machine and be fine, but
Yeah. Alrighty.
I'm sure there's hundreds.
Oh yeah, I can
it
think of a few, like deploying targets that delete stuff without testing them. I mean, that's a bad
one of the things I
thing
like
to
about
do.
PDQ, it's the administration of can you do something? Sure, we don't tell you what to do. You can with PDQ.
There's a series of please don't try this.
You can be as dangerous as you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to cover one other thing while we're talking about packages and stuff. Just how versatile that install step is. All right. Let me just give you the listing of what you can actually run from an install step. You've got the MSI, EXE, batch file, PowerShell script, a registry edit file. Yes, you can edit the registry. And if you want to flash back to the 90s, you can run Visual Basic Script. So again, here's the 90s VBS here. You'll notice right here, because it ends in VBS, we already know what to do, which is the C script exe. Again, you know, if with a registry edit file, let's see if I've got one right here. There it is, registry file. Regedit /s, you can edit your registry files. So again, here's the command that gets run, and because of the extension, we know what to do in that install step. Super, super powerful.
Speaking of things that you can mess up really easily, the registry.
Tread lightly.
Yeah, might be good advice.
Test. Don't. My favorite saying about automation: you can automate a lot of good really fast. You can automate a lot of bad really fast. So, test, 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 test. So that's some things in deploy. Should we jump over into inventory? Should we do a question in between, or should we just move on?
Dear Lex, Jordan, and Colby, how would you install a VPN client with PDQ, being that it breaks the connection with users working from home?
All right, this one I feel put on the spot. I'd have to think about this for a little bit. Colby, any thoughts?
I'm not sure that there's necessarily going to be a clean way to do that. The first thing that kind of comes to mind is creating a scheduled task.
Yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's sort of a difficult situation with it interrupting the network connection.
So this seems kind of online with like the creators updates, where if you're sending that install, the install is kicked off. It's just not going to report back to you if it's successful or not, but it may complete, but there's no way to be sure.
So you script the install on the other side, whether it's silent parameters or whatever. Lose connection. It says it failed, but it actually possibly could have worked.
Yep. I just don't know how you're going to get it to check back in at that point if it's a completely different.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right. All right. Grouping in. All right. So inventory. Let me show you guys how to group and pin stuff in your. Just customize your window here. You know, I've shown this probably a couple times, but if you go to customize your grid, you know, I like to, you know, grab the IP address and pop that in there so you can add it. It adds it to the bottom, and I don't want to scroll over to the bottom, so if you hit fixed, it moves it to the top and pins it, which causes this to happen. So here's the name of the computer, IP address, and as I scroll, those two stay pinned. Filtering, it's kind of interesting. You can go up here, you'll notice IP address, that little filter icon. If you click on that, I can go grab blanks, non-blanks, specifics. You can do this again with any of these columns. And the other one that I know I've been shown this, but I forget it continually, is I think you can hit Control F from here. There you go, and it opens this really cool hidden filter. So we'll look up anything with 10.0.1 in it. There we go.
And I think with that filtering, you can actually get pretty complex with what you put in there. I think it takes regex, but I'm not sure. I just know that the filtering on that was far more powerful than you might assume if you want to just start playing around with it.
That's cool.
Yep, I will share a link to the. We use a GUI framework called DevX, and I'll share a link to the documentation for that specific search because it's. I don't think it's regex, but it does do some things differently that can be useful.
I knew it had X in it.
It had an X.
Close enough.
Cool. Now, another thing. If you got multiple versions of deploying inventory running and you want to get stuff from one to the other, exporting. I know you're like, yeah, I know how to do this. Some people, this is new to them. So you can export collections. You can do one, you can do multiples. Right click, export. I'm just going to drop this on the desktop. There it is, export XML. I didn't know this, but you can actually export tools. So if you go to customize, you know what? I want to export the GP update. Right click, export. There it is, GP update tool. I just exported that, so I can build a super awesome tool and send it to Jordan.
That's nifty.
Yeah, that's actually kind of cool. You can do the same thing if you build a really awesome scan profile. Again, DHCP versus static, you can export those too.
I was about to ask.
Yeah, so if you are exporting a tool and it has a dependency, like it needs like WizTree or some sort of software, it's not going to include that in the export, so you're going to have to make sure wherever they import it, it has the dependency there.
Thank you. Thank you. So you can do that. Another thing, collections. Gotta love collections. Internet browsers. You notice I've got Edge for Business. I can show you how to hide those and show hidden files. So we're going to go here into View. I'm going to hide right there. Hide that collection. Boom, disappears. I'm going to do the same thing with Opera. Hide it because I just don't want to look at it. So View, hide collection library. Now, did you notice right there when I right-clicked under View, it said Display Hidden Library Collections? If I click that, you'll notice now I've got grayed out Opera, which kind of defeated the purpose. I didn't want to see them in the first place, so I'm going to go back here, collection library, right-click, View, don't display hidden library collections. And then you can go over here, obviously at the collection library level, there's the collections, and you can say here's the hidden ones, and see all the ones that you have hidden also there. So a lot of different ways to display that, but you can get the clutter out of your way if you want.
The show hidden is more if you did what I did when the feature was first available and you just overdid it and you weren't sure exactly what you had hidden. You can go through and you can find what you didn't mean to hide. It's protection from yourself, which I need.
Protection from yourself. I love it. Another thing you can do, let's say I wanted to only scan the machines that have Firefox on it. Okay, highlight that. You can hit Control F is the keystroke. If I did that right, Control F. Scan status. Did I do that? Control F. Membership updating. Scan collection standard. Boom. Oh, excuse me, it's not Control F, it's Shift F6. There you go, I learned something new. Shift F6 does it. Let's try that again. We'll just jump up to, we'll do all the Mozilla Firefox. Shift F6. There it is. So, not Control, it's Shift. I need to learn the difference between the Shift and the Control key. What do you think?
I think that you just jumped down a line.
I was reading a line further down.
Yep.
Yes, I was. On my, I rarely have a list I work from. Do we have another question?
Dear Lex, Jordan, and Colby, will PDQ support Mac OS machines for inventory and deploy? Sincerely, Heiner G.
Will it support? It currently doesn't. It's a possibility in the future.
Hey, you never know.
You never know. I don't know if that's a good answer, but
So is this question, is it asking if it supports the client or the end target, or deploy and inventory the console software?
Okay, so I guess we could do a network scan and find them, but you really wouldn't be able to pull any software on there. You wouldn't really be able to deploy to it. So, I mean, you can find them, just can't do anything with them really from inventory and deploy.
Yeah, our products are definitely built around Windows.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. You have another question?
Okay. I don't know how the spacing is on this one, so I apologize. Are there any plans for community-made packages? Something like I make a package, give it a description, and upload it to community forum for others to download and use?
The issue with that isn't that we don't believe that it can be done, it's we have to get permission to be able to distribute those. So that's definitely, a lot of software we don't have is not because we can't do it or we don't want to, it's the software developer won't give us permission to be distribution for it, which makes it a bit more complex.
Yeah. But if you want to share with your friends, you
We
can
abide-
export like I just showed
We
you.
abide by licensing terms.
Yeah, so I suppose it would be possible to do one where you don't supply the media, it's just the framework for it, and then someone could go download the media, but then it's not going to auto-update for you. You're going to have to get the new media every time.
Some definite, and then, testing, those kind of things. It's a little more complex. Let me show you how to link collections together. So I pre-built a couple of these, and I had to build 2 of them. And I'll build one, and then I'll show you. There's a couple different ways to do this. The first way, I'm like, okay, I want to find everybody who has Chrome and Firefox, right? Now, because those are Firefox. All right, Firefox. Now, the first thing I did, I'm like, oh, this is easy. You just go down here to a member of collection name contains Firefox, right? Then we'll add another filter, member of collection name contains. I had to copy these guys because I can never contains Chrome Enterprise. I'm going to copy that because I can't type Enterprise, guys. I just know I can't. We're not even going to go there. Not even going to try it.
It's the belief in yourself that makes you so good at this.
Well, a couple of the things with that, I'm actually going to copy the Firefox one too because I don't think I can type that correct either. Well, here's the thing, because anything containing Firefox, I'm going to get late, old, right? I just want anything that has, does not contain Firefox would fall in there also. So, so we'll pop that in there. Now, first time I ran this, this is what I got. Whole lot of nothing, because my filters were not correct. And so to get this way, you need to go in and add a couple of these guys. Drop down. So any of those or any of those. Oops, I did that too far. Okay. And now if I run it, I think, let me pop this. I want it to look all uniform. There we go. Okay, so now I will get anybody who has Chrome or Firefox on there. Or more.
Or more.
Apparently more. Well, this is what it was supposed to look like, guys. That one right there. Equals. Not contains equals. See, this is what I went through the other day trying to do this. So if you use equals, you get what you want, which is 14 machines. Now, again, I spent a lot of time to do this, and I showed you how I did it wrong again, right? Colby told me there's a better way to do this, where you can go in and you say, okay, let's build that new dynamic collection. In the computer table, it's collection is member of, and you get to select it, so you don't have to spell, which again helps me immensely. Applications, internet browsers, Chrome Enterprise, and then you can add another one. His collection is member of, and select Firefox also. Now, the interesting thing, I ran this just like it is right there, and we're going to call this Colby's Chrome and Firefox. I am so sorry I'm typing, guys. Normally I don't. I'll let someone else do the typing. Colby Chrome and Firefox. Boom. And then let me just drag this out so it looks normal, but check that out, guys. Not only did it run, it ran fast. I think that's because it's linked off IDs, isn't it? Colby? On those?
Yep, it is tying directly to the collection ID.
So the good and the bad, it's fast, but if I export that ID might be different on different machines, so just be careful.
Yeah, or if it's not one of those, but you've built your own collections that you delete and remake, you're going to have to relink it to that one.
Absolutely, absolutely. So a couple ways to go about that.
I think it's fitting that Colby is tied to a useful collection and I'm tied to a package that does nothing in this webcast, because we got the Jordan's career that does nothing.
Career.
I think we've got fitting examples of how things are working out around here.
Oh, you know what? Let's just do this. Since we got all this really cool information here, I'm going to copy this. Here's another useful tip. Right click, copy. I'm going to open Jordan's career package here. Deploy once.
Anything useful come out of that career yet?
There you go. Paste. Look at that.
No.
I just pasted. Copied from inventory, pasted in, and now your career is being smattered across Colby's cool collection.
It's still not doing anything, but it's spreading.
There you go. There you go. Do you have any more questions?
Well, I was going to ask about doing a DIR. Have you ever had success?
If I ever had
Has it ever been useful for you?
a DIR?
I think a DIR has been useful for me.
When I was doing automation testing, I used it all the time with great use.
So you guys want to see what Colby's career package actually does? Sleep step. 60 seconds.
So Linux, Lex is a Linux guy, so he probably accidentally types ls.
Yeah, I know. I did. I did. Dir, there it is. Boom. So I did a dir.
Okay, dear Lex, Jordan, and Colby, is it possible to grab the installer from a PDQ managed package if I wanted to install it on a server that can't be accessed in Deploy? Example, install Winterstat on a server that doesn't have .NET 4.5.2 installed. Thanks, Andrew S.
So you're just basically looking for install files?
Yeah, it should be in the repository.
Absolutely. Preferences. Repository. Let's go open that up. Winterstat, I don't have it, but let's say you wanted 7-zip. There it is. Grab the executable you want. Send it on over. Go ahead and install it. That's, score.
We did it. We answered one.
All right, your career has taken a step in the right direction. You got another question?
Oh, we have a lot of questions.
Uh-oh.
We could probably start a speed round if we'd like.
Let's do a
do
speed
it.
round.
Let's
Hey
do it.
guys, what bandwidth throttling options beside the target limits can I use with DFS and pull mode? Sincerely, Slash.
Hey, Slash. With DFS, there's a lot of bandwidth throttling you can do. I don't have it here to show you, but I would definitely Google that one because there is throttling. You can specify times for updates, those or replication, that kind of thing. So I definitely look that one up. Do that on the DFS side of things.
All right, guys, I have a heck of a time with inventory showing the computer online status equals yes, yet the computer scan status is unreachable or offline. If it is unreachable or offline, why is the online status set to yes? Because in this state, you can't deploy anything to it. Thanks, Barry W.
Generally, I'm thinking that's probably because you can't, I mean, it answers a ping. That would determine that it's online and you can't deploy or do anything with it because you probably don't have the firewall settings correct. Any thoughts?
I can't believe that it would be a common occurrence for a machine to be frozen in a state where it's accepting a ping but nothing else, though. So that seems like more of a occasional thing more than something you'd frequently see. So I'm not sure exactly that without being able to look into it.
We've actually made some changes around this behavior in the latest nightlies.
Oh.
There was a little bit of a difference in the way that the heartbeat worked versus the way a scan worked, specifically around looking up DNS and which address it would use and stuff. So I highly recommend trying out the latest nightly and seeing if that helps. Yeah. I'll post a link in the chat.
The latest nightly would be considered a beta, so just be careful putting in production.
Well, actually, even less tested than a beta.
Well, there you have it. Thank you, Colby.
Dear Lex, Jordan, and Colby, is there a way to schedule reboots for a set of computers in a specified order? Sincerely, Andy L.
In a specified order?
It's going to send the reboot in the order that it gets them when they're available. I don't know if there's a way to specify.
Could you, I mean, now think about this, right? Let's say I do a reboot. Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think if there's a way to do it.
So if the order is static, I guess you could have...
You could probably build a schedule for every machine. That would suck, but you could do it, and then it would go in time sequence that way, as long as it was available, a slot was available to run.
And it would definitely have to be a static order every time that you need him to reboot on.
Yeah. I guess you could do it that way. It would be a lot of work.
Yeah.
Something similar you could do is use the command line PDQ Deploy.exe deploy and write a script that starts each target individually in your order. That'll create a lot of deployments and isn't great for your deployment history, but that theoretically should sort of keep it in order.
Yeah, I'd go through the list of how you imported it, I guess.
That's true.
Hey guys, what are your most used keyboard shortcuts in PDQ Deploy and Inventory?
Control D, let's deploy. F6, start a scan.
Is it control semicolon that opens the preferences?
Control semicolon.
Just
Control comma.
Control colon. Control comma, yeah.
Yeah, it had
so-
a comma somewhere in there. Just the dot on top.
Let's see.
I'm terrible for keyboard shortcuts. I know I drive Chris knows with that. I will manually click on everything, and he is not that way.
Control-Alt-R runs remote desktop. Remote command is Control-Alt-C, I think.
Yeah, we don't like to
You're
use them on the
deploy.
webcasts.
Yeah,
We can't
oh
see
yeah, that's
what we're
right.
typing.
If we do use, we're supposed to call out what we hit, just so
Yeah.
we can.
Supposed to,
Control-Alt-C.
Jordan,
Yeah,
supposed to.
Yeah, just like
Open
the highlighter.
Run command, yeah. And then sometimes,
Hey,
because
Lex used the highlighter today.
Twice.
twice.
Yeah. Good
My
on him.
career's on an upturn too, Jordan.
He's doing more than a dir.
That's right.
Yeah, DIR plus 2. What else we got?
Hey, Lex, Jordan, and Colby, is it bad to ensure the program is installed and up to date on Heartbeat? Sincerely, Andrew S.
Is it bad?
I mean, that's you're not going to have control, and when you're checking that, it's basically if the machine's constantly on, the heartbeat's
It'll-
not going to
it'll
go off.
never-
So
yeah.
if the machine checks off is off and then on, then it would run. I
Well-
just don't think that you're going to get the consistency you want.
Yeah, I mean,
With that.
here's the thing. The other thing about that heartbeat schedule, right? So if I turn my machine on and then I turn it off rapidly, that on and off could happen in the time frame that before it actually kicks that off. So it may not get it that way. There's a lot of caveats in here. If the machine's on for a very long time, like most of my lab, running 119 days, you're going to have some issues there. And then if you've got a big pile of a lot of stuff to update, it's going to bog the machine down or just slow it down. So just some things
If
to
you're
think about.
using deploy as part of your, I guess, imaging process, then it's going to check on when it's finished with the deployment. So I guess it makes sense mostly in like that kind of process where you're imaging the machine
Mm-hmm.
newly. But outside of that, it feels too erratic to get consistent results.
Yeah, Heartbeat is mostly intended for computers that are usually offline and then occasionally come into your network, such as laptops. What I recommend is also having a time-based trigger, like daily, weekly, something like that, because you can have multiple triggers on a schedule.
Absolutely. And of course, I don't have any schedules to show you, but basically, new schedule, triggers, heartbeat trigger, weekly, Thursday at 11 a.m., we'll say p.m. And so this one, I always like to give it an opportunity to run once first, so we'll just start that the Monday after, and boom, that's just me. There you go.
Hey guys, remote issue. I've noticed PDQ isn't updating machines when they connect to VPN. I think it's because the firewall is assigning a different IP address format, internal 192.168xx by DHCP, external 10.xxx by firewall. What do you recommend to help PDQ to find those machines when they are on VPN?
This is a really large net to cast. I mean, here's you've got to get DNS up to date. You've got to make sure your firewall is allowing the traffic through the ports. There's actually probably easier just to point you at Josh McElpring did an amazing webcast on how to get your VPN working with deploying inventory. I would reference that because he does cover a lot of the caveats that you need to take care of. So not the best answer, but a good place to look.
Hey guys, is there a way to make a collection based on subtraction dates, X days ago?
So let's see. Give me all the applications where the install date was after. I always get these mixed up, after, before. Or you get fixed date, relative date. I always have to do this like 30 times. It's like, is after the 4th of July, the 5th of July? I think it is, right?
Lex isn't good with time.
Yeah, time and math, but
The mastering of double negatives is pretty critical.
it's I have to do it like 5 times to figure out what I want, and then I'll forget until I do it again. But that's how you can do it off an install date. Obviously, you need to do off date and times to get these. So obviously put a fixed date in, so many days ago, or you can do relative date. So that's how you do it.
Dear Lex, Jordan, and Colby, what is the best way to leverage PDQ Deploy for imaging using MDT?
I like to, depending on if you have different applications installed for different departments, you build a baseline for each of those. So I like to hold the control key and go, everyone gets 7-zip and Ultra VNC and Firefox, Flash for Firefox, Chrome, Git, Adobe Reader, and of course we do need to run Jordan's career package on that, and then hit create a new package nesting these. They will be in the order that you selected them. Call it baseline. The nice thing about this is all these packages, except for Jordan's career package, are auto downloads. So when 7-zip 19 ends up being 7-zip 20, it gets updated in your baseline also. So it'll keep that going forward. But that's probably the easiest way. And then have MDT. There's a ton of different ways you can have MDT. Kick it off the command line. You could have aggressive Active Directory scans and run it. You can put it in OU. I've got 3 or 4 different videos out there. Fog. I mean, they basically all tell you different ways to go about kicking these off. But yeah, that's how you do it.
All right, speed round continues. Can you have PDQ Deploy download an installation file from the internet and use that for the software deployment?
Not natively.
Yeah, no.
PowerShell?
You could.
I mean, you could, I guess, if it's something that you're going to be using a lot, you can have some sort of web scraper where it pull it down, and as long as it puts it into the file location, the repository where the package is looking, it would work. But it's going to require a lot of setup that's not really PDQ related.
Yeah, it's more a PowerShell or other method to get it in. So we do have the automating a package that's not in our package library. That might help a little bit in regards to, building a package and cleaning history, but as for grabbing stuff and pulling it down, that's, yeah.
Hey guys, can we add our own icons to the options? Thanks, Alexander Newman.
I don't believe so at this point.
No, it's. I think what's in there is just from a image package that they grabbed at the time, and there's no way to expand it.
Time out. We got the red stapler. What more do you want?
Everything's red
That's the
stapler.
important one.
That's the important one.
And a follow-up question from Mr. Newman. Can I use a different shortcut for scan in inventory using a Chromebook with no F6?
You can build your own shortcuts. You can assign them. I can't, without having it in front of me, I can't show it.
Assign shortcuts and tools, but to reassign the shortcut for scan to F6?
That is not currently possible in the release version. We have a scrapped feature that we were working on to be able to define your own keyboard shortcuts. That might be what you're thinking of, Jordan.
Probably.
There's currently no way to reassign shortcuts to scan profiles.
What Jordan was referring to is this. I just picked up, flush the local IP, or flush the DNS, right? So I'm going to do a Control Shift and the number 9 for this. Maybe Control Shift.
Can you do an auto hotkey? Does auto hotkey work on
And it-
Chromebooks?
Auto hotkey?
Probably not.
Yeah. So you'll notice I hit Control Shift O. It's already in use. So I need to pick another one, but that's how you do it. Highlight it there.
So it's not for the scan itself, but for the tools. Yeah.
Tools, you can do it. Yeah.
All right, we've got time for a couple more here. Is there a way to get an automatic report that says what Windows patches were installed to what machines in inventory?
What? Okay. So if you go and look at, let's just pull up a machine, and we'll go look at Allen Rails because I like Allen Rails. You can go see the deployments, everything that's been deployed to this, and then you can write a dynamic collection or a report against this table for your Microsoft Windows stuff, which apparently I haven't done any Windows stuff since I've been using Allen Rails in this version of, or this database in PDQ Deploy and Inventory, but that's where you go about doing that.
Hey guys, how can I create a collection that lists computer names that do not equal the serial number name? Our PC names are the service tag.
I think that's going to end up being a SQL report. So you go into reports, new report, SQL report, and then you have to do some SQL trickery right there. I could do it if I had some time, but I can't do it on camera.
We can't do that one live.
So
Definitely not in a speed round.
Nope. But that's where you do it.
Hey guys, in the repository, as new versions come out, is there an automated way to delete old versions of the software instead of having multiple versions that you no longer use left hanging around? Thanks, Alan Page.
Hey, Alan. I don't think we've got an automated version in there, and we did that because it's possible. Let's say Jordan and I were both using the same repository. He dropped an old one out there he wanted to keep. We do have this 31 unused files right here. You'll notice those are all the ones out there, and I can just select all and hit delete. Again, you might want to be a little careful with that because it might be something someone put out there to work with. It's just not linked to one of the packages. So
Yeah, anything in the unused means that there's currently nothing actively touching it, like a package or anything like that.
So yeah, just be aware. So nothing automated, but fairly easy to do.
And our final question of the day, can we get a package property like max number of parallel deployments for a package?
Max number of parallel deployments for a package?
They're referring to the concurrent targets property.
Now you want to do that on a package level, so I can do this and change that to, I don't think you can do that at a package level, but
Nope.
obviously here's where you would set that.
It's a feature request we have on our list of feature requests. I have no idea when or if it may ever happen. It's one that I personally want.
Be kind of cool. Any more? Or we
I think that's all. I think we're good.
sweet. Well, thank you guys. Hopefully you learned something. I always learn something doing this. Okay, I always learn something anytime I hang out with Colby. It's just the way it is. So thank you guys for watching. I'm Lex from PDQ.com.
Thanks for joining our webcast today. Congratulations, Matthew D. and John D. No relation, probably. Winners of PDQ swag. Send us your info at webcast@pdq.com. And thanks for checking out our new webcast portal. Again, we'd love to get your feedback, and there is a link to a survey in our bonus content tab. Thanks again, and we'll see you back here next week.